What's up everyone, Fast Eddie here. And first I'd like to say thanks to all my supporters and everybody who has purchased my book and my t-shirts and support me on Patreon and share all of my videos and send out my business cards and whatever else you do. I really appreciate it. So this video is about the top 5 mistakes beginner motorcycle riders make. And before I even start, I just wanted to say this was me. Every single one of these things I have done. So a lot of the time the reasons I make the videos that I do is to try to help people not make the mistakes I made. And that's what wisdom really is, learning from someone else's mistakes, right? So these are my top 5. I'm sure there's a top 20 that you can name, but these are the main things that I see. So the first thing, not purchasing full gear, right? You see people wearing, like what I did when I first bought a motorcycle, I bought a helmet. I didn't know anything about DOT, ECE, certifications, brand, color, design, fit. I didn't really know much of anything. I had no one to help me out. I just kind of, okay, this looks like a good helmet, and I just bought it. I bought a jacket and gloves, and that was it. I didn't have any type of riding pants. I didn't have any boots on. I was just wearing tennis shoes and jeans. A lot of beginner riders do this because either just ignorance, just not sure, or they don't think like, well, I'm only going to be going, I'm brand new, I'm not going to be riding with full gear all the time, because that's not what I see most people do. Most people just ride around in jeans, and I don't want to look like an oddball. I don't want to look weird. I don't want to get made fun of. I want to be one of the guys. So I'll just wear what I see everybody else wearing. So this is a big, big problem, because obviously if you want to think about how important gear is, it's the only protection you have. So put on all the gear that you have, right? And imagine jumping out of a car at 65 miles per hour. If you're not willing to accept the consequences of you crashing and tumbling and sliding down the pavement with the gear that you're wearing, well, obviously it's not good enough, because a motorcycle crash is going to be very violent. And let's just say your medical insurance, you don't have to pay anything for it, but how can you wear just minimum stuff and then now you're lost all your skin, or your elbows are shattered because you have no good armor in there? So full quality gear. And it doesn't matter the brand. There's a certain brand of jacket I would never wear, but the same exact brand, you go up on the quality scale, now it's a jacket that I'm saving up for. You see what I'm saying? So it's not the brand. At a minimum, I would highly recommend full face helmet, motorcycle gloves, jacket, pants, and motorcycle boots that actually go up to like maybe mid shin or something like that are very strong. And no matter what, good quality thick armor in the elbows, shoulders, back, hips, and knees. Because think about what's going to hit the ground if you start tumbling down the cement, right? You want to be protected. So purchasing full quality gear. Number 1. Number 2, not practicing the things that you learned in the basic course. So whatever state you're in or wherever you're at, whatever the basic course is, no matter how long it is, it's still just the basics. I usually describe the basic course as like an 8th grade education in motorcycle riding. You have to go take higher level courses to get your bachelor's and master's and PhD and et cetera, et cetera. But whatever you learned in the basic course, right, they give you a bike, it's usually a small CC bike, then you go and buy your own bike. Once you get your own motorcycle, practice what you were taught in the 2 days at the course in the same environment. You could go back to the exact same spot if it's just like a public parking lot that they use just to do classes on the weekends or whatnot, or go find yourself your own parking lot. Do swerving, do emergency braking, low speed maneuvers to get comfortable with your bike. And that doesn't stop. I mean, I practice myself 2 to 3 times a week, emergency braking, swerving, low speed maneuvers, just to keep it fresh. I don't care what skill it is on a motorcycle. Once you learn it, if you do not practice it, you're going to lose it. So not spending any time practicing. And for a lot of the reasons, like I didn't practice either. I was like, well, why would I do that? I got my license, so I must be good, right? And I learned very, very quickly. I really did not have any idea what the heck I was doing. But once I actually started practicing and actually getting good, then people started to come to me and ask questions how I'm able to do what I'm able to do. And the only thing I did different was, well, I just practice now. I go find this big parking lot somewhere and I practice stopping and cornering and swerving, and you get to be good. There's no secret why the same person that's been riding 1 month and this other person that's been riding 1 month, this guy could be way better because they actually put in the time to practice. And this is a never ending thing. Keep on practicing. Minimum a couple times a week, I highly recommend. Number 3, the first thing, just like what I did, my very first bike I bought was a CBR 1000. And by comparison, that's like buying a Lamborghini as a 16-year-old. It doesn't make too much sense, right? So going too big of a bike too soon. And I think it would be very beneficial if people bought like a 500cc bike or less for like the first year. So they could have a bike to actually learn the techniques. That's more forgiving, it's lighter weight and less power than a big, huge, powerful bike. It also depends on your goals, right? If you want to go on-road and off-road and go long distances, well, that's a different type of bike than this other bike over here. But if you're just going back and forth to work, maybe riding the weekends every now and then, there's no need to buy a $17,000 huge bike. It's just, you're just wasting the bike's time, right? And another big problem that people have, same thing I did, I bought the CBR 1000 because the people I was hanging out with, they were making fun of me and they were encouraging me to do that. You want to be one of the guys, bro, don't get a 600, you're going to be bored with the 600. Don't get that, you're going to want 1,000 after a couple months anyway. All kinds of crazy crap like this that I've heard. And I looked up to these people. They're way better riders than me. They've been riding for 10 years. I've been riding 2 weeks. So what do I know? So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get that bike. Little did I know, right? If I could go back, then there's no way I would have bought that bike. So going too big, too quickly. And a lot of the times, let's say you buy an R3. You're like, oh man, I want to be faster, so I want to get an R6. Well, the bike has nothing to do with it. If you could take a corner at 20 miles per hour on the R3, by having an R6 doesn't mean you could automatically go double the speed through the corner, because your skills will allow your speed. Everybody has a skill speed limit. And I don't care what bike you're on, you could get on a MotoJitsu bike. If you're only comfortable and you're only skilled enough to take a corner at 50, no matter what bike you're riding, you're still only going to take that same corner at 50 miles per hour. So you might as well have it on an R3 where it's less forgiving with the throttle and not so much power and lighter weight, taking that corner in 50, than an R1 where it's quadruple the horsepower and double the weight. You see what I'm saying? So if you think you want to be faster and be a better rider, forget about the bike, just upgrade yourself. It's always upgrading the software and forgetting about the hardware. The bike is fine. Most people just aren't good enough to make the bike do what they want it to do, right? Next thing, people go way, way too fast, way too quickly. Just like me. Again, all these mistakes I've made myself. So I'm not, like you look at the first picture of the first little thing, I had like the picture, like the emoji of the guy going like this, like, oh my gosh. So I don't walk around looking at people like, oh, look at this person, look at that person. That was me. I'm just trying to help people not make the mistakes I've made. So I bought the bike and automatically I was riding 40 miles one direction from San Diego up to Camp Pendleton, and I was still enlisted in the Marines. And I was like, okay, well, I had to go back and forth to work. So immediately I jumped on the highway and started riding, lane splitting and everything within days after buying the bike. It's just ridiculous. I'm very, very lucky. I didn't get seriously hurt because how I did not know how to control the bike, how much power it had. It was crazy. Going way too far, way too soon. I was going such great distances, right? I got the bike, going back and forth to work, 80 miles one day, if not more. I'd ride all the way up to Julian, like 50 miles of twisty roads, and I should have never been in those two environments at all, because I wasn't even comfortable with the bike. I barely knew how to ride. I didn't know anything. And I was just going too quickly. Again, why was I doing that? Well, I wanted to be like everybody else. I didn't want to feel like I was less of a rider, like I was scared, and everybody else talking like, oh, you could just ride, just go slow, you'll be fine. And all kinds of these crazy things that people say that I believed, because I had no one to go to rely on to kind of give me better mentorship, right? And say you live way, way down here, and here's a big old twisty mountain road. I've seen people up on top of a twisty mountain road around here, and like right now, and they're moments away from having an anxiety attack. They should never ever go on this route. Like, why would you put yourself in this situation where it's back-to-back corners like this? If you look at the map of where you're going and this is what the route looks like, and you've been riding for like a month, do not go there. I highly suggest not putting yourself in an environment where most people crash and die. Most fatalities for single vehicle crashes is you mess up a corner due to a whole lot of factors, going too fast, your line selection is wrong, your vision is messed up, you don't know how to steer, you can't use the brakes, or a combination of all this stuff. You mess up a corner and you go wide up the exit or you crash. That's how most people die on motorcycles if it's a single vehicle crash. So that being said, cornering takes a tremendous amount of skill, probably the most amount of skill. Going in a straight line is easy. Who cares about that? Cornering is where it's at, right? And that's where all the fun is as well. It's fun to go through a corner when you actually get it, but it takes a lot of time and practice and education to be able to do that. So going too big of a bike, going way too fast, way too soon, and going too far too soon. I have a video where I talk about just ride around your neighborhood. And after about a week of doing that, getting comfortable using your blinkers and stopping and paying attention to how traffic behaves, now go on the highway, get on one exit, get right back off the exit. Do that for a week, and then maybe 2 weeks, go 2 exits, and kind of work your way into greater and greater distances, not just too much. Number 4, this is a whole lot of people. This is the basic route. This is a lot of people on motorcycles. They take the very basic course, and then that's all they do. They don't take any further education at all. And they think that's all the basic course, that's all they need. Well, I got my license, so I must be good enough, right? Remember, it's like an 8th grade education. You're only good at riding in a parking lot going 20. That's what the basic course means. So the basic way of riding, this is like a 15-lane highway and everybody's going down the same direction in a straight line on cruise control. Yeah, it's easy, but you're not gonna have any skill, right? The advanced course is like a twisty road, very, very narrow, and you're not gonna find too many riders on this route. They actually they understand and they continue to learn because they realize I don't know everything and there's so much more to learn. So once you get comfortable on your bike, practicing the basic things that you learned at the course, and once you're comfortable enough to get to the location, now it's time to take another level course, take an intermediate, take an advanced level course. Go play in the dirt, take a whole other course where you're doing dirt biking stuff. Just do as many courses as possible. Whenever you feel that you're comfortable, that's the time to get into another course. That might be 6 months. You've taken one course, takes 6 months to practice what you learned. Now you're comfortable with what you were taught. At that moment, now it's time to get into another course. 'Cause a lot of people are just comfortable enough to crash. They get just good enough to get themselves really hurt because they stop learning. A couple light bulbs go on after this intermediate level course and you think that's all there is to learn. Keep on taking courses. Minimum, I suggest at least 2 a year, minimum. And in between the courses, a lot of people ask me, what am I supposed to practice? I take 2 courses a year. Okay, that's 2 days out of the whole year. What am I supposed to do the rest of the time? Well, that's where MotoJitsu comes into play. White belt, blue belt, brown belt, black belt, a whole bunch of drills you can set up in a parking lot in minutes, and they start off at an easy level and it gets way more difficult the higher you go up. And there's also knowledge questions inside the book to look up and research. And there's 6 books I recommend to read inside of my book, and that's where this comes from. Go find these books that people have written that run these motorcycle courses, the big ones, Total Control, Champ School, Dirt Bike Riding, Motoventures. There's a whole bunch of books out there with very, very good information in them. So it's a constant understanding and having like the beginner's mind. Like I want to keep learning. There's so much more to learn. There's so many people better than me. I need to keep on going to advanced level courses. So not doing that is a big, big mistake I see a lot of people do. The last one, number 5, is not finding a really good mentor. And a mentor is someone that will be honest with you, honest with your riding ability. They're not just sitting there to be a cheerleader, because nobody wants that. Nobody really wants that. You might think you want that for your ego. Like I want to ride with someone that's way better than me, and I want to seek that guy out. And all he's going to say to me is, oh, you're really good, you're fantastic, you take corners like a pro, you're doing amazing, this is wonderful. No, you want people to be honest with you. That doesn't mean you have to be mean, but it means I don't think you're ready to go on that route yet. I don't think you should be anywhere until you put on full quality gear. You want me to go help you pick out gear? Let's go to the motorcycle shop and I'll help you give you a whole bunch of different options that could fit into your budget of what you want to do. Or let's go practice. I'll go practice with you. You find someone that's way better than you, that has way more knowledge than you, and has more experience than you, and they're willing to teach, they're willing to help, they're willing to give back. So find yourself a really good mentor, because who you hang out with says a lot about you. If you hang out with a bunch of people that the moment you jump on the highway, they all start doing wheelies at 150 miles per hour down the highway, what does that say about you? So how about you not find somebody like that? How about you find a mentor that is willing to go to a course with you, that will show up to the course just to cheer you on, that will encourage you and give you the information of how to get into courses, what to practice when you do. You set up MotoJitsu practice days once a week and you go practice with those people. Those are the type of people you want to surround yourself with. Everybody with the similar mentality of, I want to get better. I want to surround myself with people that are wearing full gear, that do practice, that do like taking more courses, right? They're not going to buy a Yamaha R1 for their first bike because they understand and they're willing to listen and accept they don't know anything. And you need to work up your skills and knowledge and your experience, right? So find yourself a good mentor. So just like there's a big saying in the military, there's this big, huge promotional thing about, in the Marines, a whole bunch of, maybe some guy is drinking and it always, that guy, right? That guy's really loud and drunk and stumbling over things, and there's like vomit on his shirt and he's all dirty and he's like, blah, 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 blah. So the military had the saying for a while, don't be that guy. So that's what I thought about. So don't be that guy. Don't be the guy with shorts and t-shirts, don't practice, buys a way too big of a bike, goes way too damn fast, doesn't read any book whatsoever, has no more courses. They hang out with the wrong people. So don't be that person, right? Don't be that guy, don't be that girl. Surround yourself with people that are willing to help you out and they're willing to lead by example and to help you get to the place where you're far less likely to get yourself in trouble. Because the idea is get your skills really damn high and then just take a minimal amount of risk, right? It's just being on a bike alone is risky, but you don't want to start pushing the risk. If you do want to do that, you take another course, you go to a track day, that's the place to push. The problem is people take this much risk and their skill is only this high. That's how a lot of people crash and die. The idea is get to be really damn good and don't take that much risk. So don't be that guy. Wear full gear, spend a lot of time practicing, take it easy, give yourself time, be patient with yourself, just know and expect mistakes to happen and take the time to reflect upon them when they do, right? And your mentor will be there to help you out and work your way through the mistakes and to be able to tell you, hey man, we've been here for 2 hours straight practicing. It's time to leave. Your cup is filled and nothing else is going in. You need to absorb this a little bit and I could give you more information to help you get better, right? Then you need someone like that to help you out. Take more and more courses, find good people to hang out with. And since I'm talking about courses, go to my website, MotoJitsu.com. I keep on updating it and adding more tabs and more pictures and all kinds of stuff. And you can purchase my book on there. And just like to let everybody know, I have a second book coming out that is going to address all these things way more in detail about every single one of these things I'm talking about. So look out for that next second book I'll have out this year, 2019. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to hit subscribe, share with others, and don't be that guy.